Welcome to the Artist Sessions. I'm Janice Cotter, Gallery Manager at Pomo Arts. Before we start this evening, I'd like to express gratitude to the Pomo Arts Board of Directors, as well as say how thankful we are for the financial support of the Government of Canada, the Province of British Columbia, and the City of Port Moody. Pomo Arts is open 7 days a week again. We reopened to the public a few weeks ago, and it has been an absolute joy to welcome visitors and students back into our gallery and our in-person fall classes. You can check out our COVID safety plan and protocols, as well as our hours at pomoarts.ca. Our exhibitions are being presented as a hybrid of a digital exhibition you can view online, plus a live exhibition that you'll be able to visit. I'm grateful to the artists for their flexibility and for trusting us with the live and online presentation of their artwork. We have 2 exhibitions opening at Pomo Arts today. Out of the Frame is a year-end exhibition for Pomo Arts 2019-2020 ceramic artist in residence, Nolan Drew. You'll meet Nolan next week when his virtual artist talk and tour stream on Facebook on October 1st. Tonight, we have a wonderful group of artists participating in Art for Life. It is the 7th year for this exhibition and includes everything from fine art to fun art. And there's also online activities and virtual events, and it's all focused on the young and the young in heart. The goal of Art for Life is to cultivate artistic growth in our community by inspiring and engaging children and letting them know that life can be that art can be a lifelong journey. The show is also meant to create activities for active participation and discussion, as well as raising awareness of current cultural and environmental issues and lessons on art appreciation. This is a picture of the main space of the gallery, a panoramic shot. There are 21 artists exhibiting in the show this year, and I'm delighted to have most of them here with us tonight. You'll meet them as we scroll through the digital exhibition and view their artwork. Once again, I'm going to ask each of the artists who are here with us to introduce themselves and to share something about the artwork that they have in Art for Life. The link to the digital exhibition will be posted on the Facebook page. So you'll be able to scroll through it, to click on it and scroll through it with us if you like. If you're interested in purchasing artwork, please call our customer service folks on the front desk at Pomo Arts, and they will be able to help you with that. So first up this evening, I would like to welcome Ahmad Reza. I'm pleased to have him in the exhibition. He's a wonderful artist, and he has been a longtime friend and volunteer at Pomo Arts. Ahmad, could you give us a bit of an introduction to yourself, and then we'll scroll down and talk about the artwork you have in the exhibition. Oh, don't forget to unmute.
Hi, everyone. This is Ahmed. I live in BC since 2014. I am very happy to be part of the annual Art for Life exhibition this year for the 3rd time in total, which I'm thankful to Janice and the Art Center for the opportunities. So the title for the artwork that I'm exhibiting this year is Buskashi, which basically means pulling the goat. It is a 13 years old painting. I painted this back home in Kabul, Afghanistan. This is a special painting to me, not just because of the subject matter, which is of course about an exciting and tough sport in Afghanistan, but because it reminds me of the older days in back home, when we had the limited access to proper art supplies, and we had to come up with our own custom-made painting canvases. We had to cut our own stretcher bars, pick our own cotton, find the kind of glue and gesso-like powder, which I don't know the name in English, mix in a pan of water, boil it to a certain thickness, and then carefully apply it on the stretched cotton and let it dry. And there, we had our canvas to paint on. So this painting is one of those paintings. Hopefully you'll get the chance to visit the gallery and take a close look at this painting and many other amazing artworks in this exhibition. Otherwise, it'll be available online as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed. Our next artist is a Port Moody resident, and we're pleased to have her in the exhibition, Amanda Maxwell. Amanda, could you come forward and introduce yourself and tell us a bit about the painting that you have in the show?
Hi, thanks, Janice, and thank you for inviting me to exhibit at Art for Life. It's always a fun exhibition to be in, and I love the idea of encouraging children from an early age. I moved to Port Moody when my son was about 2.5 years old, and he is what I would describe as a frequent flyer in the art gallery here. He kind of grew up within there, and I think he regards it as his family now. But as a result, through seeing the art exhibitions and interacting with staff at the gallery, he is now very, very comfortable at going into art galleries. So if you can, I would definitely encourage you to bring your children into art galleries, especially the local ones, from very early on. It builds good habits, and it's good parenting as well. I can now actually look at paintings rather than being dragged around, you know, come on, mummy, faster, faster. So I don't have any arts training or background. I first started painting when Agatha at the Art Centre persuaded me to go into her directed painting class. I'd taken one class in the basics in oils, and she said, "Oh yeah, you'll be fine. Come into the directed painting class." And I fell in love with oils, and I fell in love with painting portraits. And as you can see, my piece here it's my son. I'm lucky enough to have one of the artist studios provided by the city. And I got the keys just before we went into the lockdown in the early part of the pandemic. Eventually, I managed to get down there, and it's a lovely space. It's quiet, it's open, it's airy. And my son would come down with me occasionally. Now, he's very into VR. So this is a picture of him in his Oculus Quest. A lot of parents worry about screen time. I don't worry so much. I feel that children are immersed in the digital world, and they need to be immersed in the digital world. So I hope that this painting of him actually shows that he is fully alive underneath this mask in particular. And also he's a great subject. He doesn't mind me taking photographs. This was probably my largest painting, and I took the coward's way out and I did it on pieces of paper first, and then had to work out how to mount them on the wooden panels. So from this, I'm going to try and paint bigger pieces. So I hope you enjoy looking at it. Thank you, Janice.
Thanks, Amanda. Next up, we have Angela Zimmerling. And Angela, could you come forward and unmute yourself?
Okay. Hi. I just want to say I'm really, really thrilled that that my illustrations are got accepted, and what really appealed to me about the call out was that it said about for the young and the young at heart, and I like to play, and I like to play with whatever, whether it's pastel, whether it's acrylic, whatever and whether it's the written word. I'm actually a journalist by trade, and I work in fiction and poetry, but I love creating images any way I can. And I just like to have fun. And I think your gallery is just lovely. It's the first time I've seen it ever. And it's a beautiful, beautiful location in a beautiful little town. And thank you very much. I work, the art that I put out is pastel and pencil crayon and ink on paper.
Thank you. Thank you for all the nice things people are saying about the gallery. Gee, it's so nice that being open again and having people come in and enjoy exhibiting and enjoy visiting. So it's so nice that, thank you, Angela. Next up, we have Elaine Hunter. Elaine, this is her second time in Art for Life, and she has come to us from Half Moon Bay on the Sunshine Coast. Elaine, can you unmute and come forward?
Yeah, I've just done that, Janice. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Pomar Arts for accepting my work in the exhibition. I was thrilled to be invited again. Had a wonderful experience the first time, and it's very interesting that you're doing this digital event for us so that we can keep doing an exhibition in such times as COVID. So thank you very much. Since I moved here from Ottawa in 2006. I became a lot more active in my photography. I was a dance teacher for 30 odd years in Ottawa. And a lot of my work now still has the movement of dance. And I often describe myself as choreographing nature rather than dances now. I absolutely love nature. And as a child, it's where I found peace. I used to go off on my own a lot and really loved the peaceful countryside, ponds, dibbling around with a net, trying to see what I could find. Photography was always something, even as a child, that I loved. I had a little Conway, a little box camera. I was always there annoying people with my camera. I think I've annoyed people with my camera my whole life. But it wasn't until I moved here that I became more serious about creating art. And because I discovered what I could do online with a computer and my photographs, it became very exciting to me. I'll create something like the one you're looking at there now. I kind of go, whoa, where did that come from? And, you know, it comes from nature, really. And my excitement of nature and my love of nature, I hope, comes through in my work. It's taken about thousands and thousands of hours to learn what I want to do with each image and what the result will be, because I'm working with creating different dimensions which I think could possibly be there, and they come forward in this art. I think there are many dimensions that we're just not aware of, and hopefully you can see what I'm talking about when you look at it. The art that I chose for this exhibition is pretty fanciful. I wanted something to be very bright and fun for children to enjoy, and it's called Dancing Sky. And I'm hoping that children will be able to look at my work and then maybe go out into nature or just walk down the street and look up at the clouds and imagine them dancing. And they'll get away from whatever's happening, you know, with COVID and different worries that they may have. It perhaps help them to look at the sky and think of them dancing. I think I could go on for hours, so I better stop now.
Thank you, Elaine. Thank you so much. I am just watching some of the Facebook comments as we go along, and I just want to give a shout out to our board president, Kathy Chenna, who is watching. Thanks, Kathy. It's always nice to have you attending our receptions, even when they are virtual. So now we'll move on to our next artist, Unkyo Kim, who also goes by Unky. And you've seen Unkyo's work in the gallery before. This is a photo of her from her Art for Life when she was in here in 2019. So Unkyo, would you like to come forward and introduce yourself and tell us a bit about the pieces that you have in the show this year?
Hi, I'm Unki, and I'm originally from South Korea, and I live in Port Moody, and I usually paint in oil, but this time the ones that I submitted is my early paintings that when I decide to paint for the rest of my life, that's when I painted in acrylics. Those two are both, the first one is a Korean folktale. It's about this folks who likes to become a human. So it's an old story, and it always fascinates me to read fairy tales and old stories of different from my own culture and from all other culture as well. So, and the second one is my own story. It's my own made up fairy tale, I guess. Yeah, so it's I am into sci-fi and this steampunk style. So I think it's just I work very intuitively, so this image just usually just come to me, and I just have to create. That's how I create it. So
I like that you, when you talked about it, Unkyo, that you said that you were illustrating a woman who came from the East and having adventures in the West.
yes.
Now, Unkyo also had a digital exhibition here in the spring when we were completely locked down, and you can still find it on our art exhibition archive. So it was called The Inner World. You can always have a look at that too when you're going through our website. Now, Unkyo also had a digital exhibition here in the spring when we were completely locked down, and you can still find it on our art exhibition archive. So it was called The Inner World. You can always have a look at that too when you're going through our website. Now, Unkyo also had a digital exhibition here in the spring when we were completely locked down, and you can still find it on our art exhibition archive. So it was called The Inner World. You can always have a look at that too when you're going through our website. Sorry. Also had a digital exhibition. I don't know what's going on. We seem to have a sound issue. And you can still find it on our art exhibition archive. So it was called The Inner World. It seems to be repeating. The artists, are you getting my voice, or is it just repeating the sound? Okay, well, repeated, okay. Has it, well, we stopped talking. Okay, let's see if this is going to work now. I'm going to invite Harmony to come forward. I know she was trying to juggle a class and she got the message. So I hope everyone can hear you. Harmony, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your work in the exhibition?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Harmony, and I'm really excited to be part of that group exhibition. It's the first time for me in BC and in Coquitlam. I'm from France, as you can tell as my accent, and I lived 6 years in Quebec. And we decided to move with my husband and my baby, who was, at that time, who was 3 weeks, last year in BC, in Coquitlam. I'm a scenographer, set designer for theater for the last 10 years. And when I arrived here, I was in maternity leave. So maternity leave, a little baby, pretty much alone on the hill in Coquitlam with the rain. And I remembered that I didn't draw for myself for a long time. So I started to do it when the baby was asleep. So it was like a few minutes, some hours. And I wanted to play. I need a goal when I'm drawing. So what I did is when I was a teacher for theater, I used to do that activity that I like. It's that you have to create a job who doesn't exist and explaining it. So I did that job with those little drawings. Because outside on the nature, we have wonderful landscape and mountain and everything. So I thought to myself, if there's little dudes who are transparent and we can't see, and they are working to creating the magic we are seeing, what will they be doing? I don't know if that my sentence is really great, but so anyway, I started like that, and so you can see the cloud blowing. So every drawings is about a little job that we can't see. Okay, and the trick was if it was an exhibition. Not online. I wanted to hide the title.
Oh, shoot. Sorry.
No problem. I wanted to add the title and...
You can keep talking. I'm going to have to scroll through.
No problem.
It gave me a hard time when I tried to reduce that photo. You can keep talking.
Make the people wondering what the little dude are doing. So because I'm a scenographer, I like to set up spaces for people to go in. So the exhibition, I'm seeing it that way, that I like them to interact with what they see. So I wanted to have a little box where they put the guests of what they are doing. For example, you can see that one is reading a story to a volcano for him to fall asleep or no wake up. But he could do something else, like depend of your imagination. And since I'm starting that series, I can't stop. Every day I'm going on a walk, I see a new dude. So I have to go back and draw it. So I'll let you figure it out what they are doing. And also, by the way, it's watercolor and ink. And now I'm playing with paper cuts.
Thank you, Harmony. That was a wonderful description. I apologize for interrupting your show with my technical mix-up there.
That's the life, no problem.
Next, I would like to have Hollis Nelson come forward. Hollis collaborated with Carly McKenzie on some of the Art for Life pieces, so she's asked Carly to join us as well. These are the two artists behind the Hawks Project. Welcome to Carly and Hollis.
Awesome, thank you, Janice, and thank you, Port Moody Arts, for having us in this show. Really excited about the theme and the content, and especially it's the first show that we've been a part of since COVID, and I think it's an important time to kind of stay positive and bring colorful, bright art back into people's lives. So thank you for that. I'm Hollis. Nice to meet everyone. I'm a painter at heart. I got my diploma from Langara and my degree from Emily Carr. And acrylic painting is what I like to do, but I also really like working on and with discarded materials. And that's something that I do in collaboration with Carly. Maybe she'd like to speak a bit about some of the pieces that we have here.
Hi, I'm Carly. I've just been practicing art here with Hollis in the Sunrise Studio for a few years, but we've just recently started collaborating together more seriously on clothing. So the first piece there is, it used to be a big leather bomber jacket of my dad's, which my stepmom hated and wanted me to take out of the closet. So things like that, I cut it in half, cut the sleeves off. I like to reimagine things that were once some other shape into something new, and Hollis then adorns with her pattern work and painting. And then as you see on the bottom, the other one is used to be a pair of leather shorts that Hollis then painted, and then I cut up into little fringe strips. That's another thing I love doing, is making something that was solid, movement, like a piece of that can be moved around. It sort of changes the whole dynamic of her painting, which is always so fun. So yeah, that's just kind of what we love to do, recycling mainly with textiles and fabrics and stuff.
And we've also done some other work that's not necessarily wearable. We collaborated together on a big, it's not in this exhibition, but it was a large sculpture that we made that was an octopus, and we made it out of all sea debris that had been washed up on shore and cleaned up. So something, yeah, we really like doing is taking things that have been discarded and giving them new life. There's so much in the world, and there's a lot of waste in the world, and you know, we both really are advocates of the climate crisis and the environment, and we just like to reimagine things and keep it going and not use new stuff. So that's kind of what we're passionate about. Yeah. And these are
so we're moving on now to your pieces, Hollis, the pieces that you've submitted.
Yeah, so my work is really, I'm really into color and pattern. I make my own patterns and I work very intuitively. And I've kind of, in the last year or so, really been working like with landscapes, which you can kind of see in these pieces. The top fringe one has the sun, and then there's mountains on that turquoise blue one. So I almost just kind of, it's intuitive. It's not planned out. I just kind of start, and it brings me a lot of joy. And it's also kind of therapeutic, really. Creating art is very therapeutic for me. And I think that comes through with the colors and the kind of the vibrancy that exists on these old jackets. So, yeah.
That's wonderful. And I will insert an installed image in it tomorrow. I'll do more photography in the gallery because they look wonderful installed in the exhibition as well.
Oh, so fun. Yeah, we're going to come visit. We can't wait to see it in life.
Thank you very much.
Oh, great. Thank you very much, Hollis and Carly. That was wonderful. So our next artist this evening is Janice Baudouin, and I would like to invite Janice to come forward and tell us a little bit about her art practice and the work in the exhibition.
Okay, hi everybody. First of all, thank you for inviting me to be a part of the exhibition. This is the second time I've been in the Art for Life exhibition, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I am a North Vancouver artist. I have a studio in North Van. It's called Welsh Street Studios, and there's about 9 of us. And we have separate studios, and it's a wonderful space to work in. I am a non-objective artist, so my work is abstract. I work very intuitively. I work in acrylic and mixed media and oil and cold wax. And the piece that we're looking at now is it's oil and cold wax. And I'm always looking to simplify my work, and I find that I love line, and I have a lot of line in my work, and yeah, you'll see it with some other pieces coming up as well. Oh, this one's really big. This one is not cold wax. This one is acrylic. It has collage elements in it, and it's called Bad Rabbit, and it's very playful and fun and simple and colorful. And the next piece coming up, this one is collage with cold wax and oil. And again, keeping my shapes really simple, not often knowing what is going to appear, but just playing with the shapes and being playful and open to them. And this one, a tugboat came forward. And this one is just another fun one. It came from space, and it was, again, it's wax mixed in with oil, and it's kind of like Betty Crocker frosting. It's really fun to work with, and so it's quite layered. And then I tend to use a lot of mark making tools. This is a Stabilo pencil, which works quite well on the wax, and there's some pastel in there as well. Yeah, so yeah, I'm really happy to be part of the show, and I'm looking forward to seeing it all installed. Thank you, Janice.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing you when you get to the gallery to visit. Next up, we have Lisa Hanna. I'd like to welcome Lisa. She is a Port Moody artist and author. Lisa, do you want to come forward and chat for a few minutes?
Hi, Janice. Thank you so much for having me to this show. I'm an artist and author, and I live in Port Moody. And I too came to the Port Moody Art Center through my daughter, probably about 5 or maybe more than that, actually more like 10 years ago. Time flies. When my daughter was in elementary school, she came in for classes regularly, and everything from drawing and painting and acting and piano lessons. So I had lots of great conversations. And I have known about the Art for Life show for some time. And Janice and I have had many conversations over the years while I've been in the process of writing my book, The Big Adventures of Little O. And she kept saying to me, you should apply to Art for Life. And I kept saying, I'm not quite ready yet. So finally I'm ready. I have self-published my first children's chapter book, which I also illustrated. And the pieces that we had that I have shown here in the show, it took quite a while for me because it's my first book that I've ever illustrated. I've been an artist forever, but I've never really done illustration style. So it took me quite a while to come to finally decide what kind of, what style of and what medium I was going to use to illustrate the book. And I did everything from collage to plasticine, 3D, and I tried everything. And I finally settled on watercolor, which is a medium that I really love working with, and ink as well. And so that's what you see here. This first one that's showing is actually one of the last images from the book. It's towards the end of the book when everybody reunites and they're all enjoying the bountiful salmon. The bears are there and the orcas are all there. In my book, I have my protagonist, my main character, Little O. He's a young orca, and in the next image that's coming here, it's Little O in one of his wonderful dreams where he speaks to Mother Nature, and she takes many different shapes in his dreams. And in this one, she's a large bird that's soaring above the forest and the ocean, with Little O on her back, and he's in a sphere of seawater, and he's just swimming around in there, looking at the earth from an interesting perspective for an orca. And the next image is him with one of his little friends that he meets along the way, who kind of helps him continue on with some humor. This is Lutris, and Lutris is a sea otter. And the next image is when little O, he's been traveling for quite some time, and he's very hungry, and he kind of loses his temper a little, and he starts jumping and flopping out of the water. And this is him sky hopping out of the water. And in the background, you can see there's a couple of grizzly bears there. And he makes fast friends with the Grizz, the little grizzly bear cub. Yeah, so that's a few of the illustrations. I think there's 27 illustrations in the book altogether. And yeah, it was an amazing experience writing it. It took probably about 6 years to finally go from the beginning stage to the end. And I'm just really happy to finally be able to put it into this wonderful show. So thank you so much for inviting me.
Lisa, you touched on a couple of the things that I was going to ask you, which was how many illustrations total were there? I know there were quite a few when I was trying to select them. And also, I know I remember those conversations over the years where I would constantly pester you to include the book and the artwork in Art for Life. So I'm so happy that you were able to complete the book and have it in the exhibition. Thank you.
Me too. Me too. Thank you.
Our next artist this evening is Mickey Morgan. And I don't believe Mickey was able to join us this evening, but she is a fourth year Emily Carr student, and her work focuses on various aspects of her Judaism. And what did she say here? She says that her work is predicated on community in all aspects of her process. She said, I have a fierce desire to share my work with folks of all ages who are not familiar or do not identify with formal art practice, Judaism, queerness, transness, or anything anyone else may find in what I create. So she has included an outline on how lighting the candles during this time recently has been a very important part of her process. And she has 3 digital photographs in the exhibition that fall in this series. And you can scroll through it and find out more about Mickey and read about her pieces. The other thing that I should mention is that each artist has an artist profile. And so when you see their names, there's a link underneath each artist's name, and you can click on it, and they have a profile on the artist directory on PomoArt's website. So you can go and find out more information about them. Right now, I'd like to invite Monica Moscoso to unmute and come forward and tell us a bit about herself and her artwork in Art for Life. Monica?
Yes, hi, it's the second time I can participate. I'm super happy with the opportunity. My work, I think, is, I put different things, but I put paint, also embroidery, and the creation of dolls I'm doing now. I'm interested a lot in the dolls because I always have this interest and think it's pretty fun. This kind of characters, and yeah, I love do dolls. My embroidery also is something I learned when I was super younger, and now I try to use it in my work in general. In my paint is like I try to use like the inspiration. These two paints is about the beauty of my country, the beauty, Mexican beauty. And the people I'm selecting is people I know personally. Yeah, I try to capture the different style we have. If I found beautiful, I think it's full the colors. I always enjoy work with different materials, watercolor, acrylic, oil. But yeah, I have a lot of fun in my studio now. I try always to create something different. Is I'm happy to share with another person. Thank you.
Now, Monica, earlier we had Harmony on, who was originally from the north of France, but you lived in France for a while as well.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, I have a good experience. I learn French. Now I try to speak English correctly. It's sometimes difficult, you know, the accent is strong. But yes. Yeah.
So, but you've come from Mexico and then you were in France and now you're in Canada.
Yeah, I had the 10 years living in Canada. I think I'm okay. Well, I lived before in Quebec. I prefer here because the weather is excellent.
Our winters are definitely better than Quebec's. Yes. Thank you very much, Monica. And I have to say, we had Monica's work in Art for Life last year as well. Completely different pieces, and it's a pleasure to have you back in the exhibition again, Monica.
Thank you.
Our next artist is Monique Motu Firth, and I may have pronounced that wrong. I'm sorry if I did. You may have met Monique earlier this year when she was in Igniting Hope, and she's back with us again in Art for Life. Monique, would you like to unmute and tell us a bit about yourself and your artwork?
Hi, thanks, Janice. I just want to thank you for inviting me to be part of this show, Art for Life. And yeah, I think you did a really good job of our digital show last time. And so it's kind of fun to be back. I'm a multidisciplinary artist, and lately, well, the last 5 years or so, I've been working in paper. So you can see that's a studio shot. Where I cut a lot of different images out. I cut just about everything out. I'm not very particular as to where the source material is. So textbooks, magazines, all kinds of different print materials. And then I build new structures out of them. I think the work is kind of appropriate for the show because it's pretty fun. I think it looks pretty fun. I really am talking about ideas of consumerism, aggregates, these kinds of maybe new systems or machines we could build. And I'm particularly interested with color. Originally, I started out in painting, and I might end up back there again, but at the moment I'm working here and I'm thinking about movement. This one is almost sort of like animal-like. Fluid, gravity, physics, these types of things I'm sort of playing with in the work, balance. And so maybe I'm having a little bit too much fun, you could say, perhaps, but yeah, I'm definitely trying to make a new future or create some order perhaps out of things that seem very disordered right now.
I love your titles, Monique.
Yeah, the titles, I should explain, they're found words in the images. So just as the images are found and put together, the titles, I just go through and I find every word that I can find in the imagery, and then I mix them up to make some kind of sentence. So this one is, the machine is called custom bonded radial neutronic steel. So they make as much sense as the image does, perhaps. And the last one here was a different one. For me, this was a landscape. And so usually I build sort of machines or objects. And this one was thinking about materialism and just following what I found in the print materials. So the size and the format of older magazines, maybe from the 50s, and then a wave of the 70s coming crashing in, and then the current moment we're in with these super highly saturated glossy magazine images, as a way of thinking about maybe rethinking Canadian landscape and the impact that that consumer images and we as consumers have on the environment.
Thank you very much, Monique. Thank you for also coming back and having your work in the gallery this time. It was nice to put it on the wall instead of just having it on the digital exhibition.
Thanks so much, Janice.
And coming up next is Nicole Ponsart. And I'd like to invite Nicole to come forward and unmute and tell us a bit about her practice in ceramic arts and the artwork that she has in Art for Life.
Hi, Janice. Thank you so much for having me in this show. It's a tremendous honor to be considered with all of these people showing work for the Arts for Life show. I'm currently a fourth-year student at Emily Carr University. I'm completing my Bachelor of Fine Arts in Visual Arts, and I mainly focus on ceramics, or I have for the last 2 years while I've been here. I grew up in Coquitlam and Port Moody, so the center has always been a great place that I have looked to and participated at when I was a young student, and being able to show my work here is awesome. So I'm excited to come check out the show and see more of the artwork after it's been installed. Yeah, some of my pieces here, I have my numerical test beans, which are forms I created over the past year. I have over 100 of these, and they act as test tiles for when I'm testing my slips, glazes, and sigillatas before I commit to putting something on a project. I found this way of working a little bit more impactful in mitigating my own waste in the studio. And rather than ending up with boxes and boxes of these test tiles at the end of the year, I have a form that I can now install and enjoy the company of, and just appreciate the time and work and research that went into each glaze and things like that. So that was my own kind of thing I started, and something that I've continued on. And yeah, like I said, I have over 100, so it's quite a big grouping of them. Next, I have this cactus tea set I created with keeping family in mind. I created these large scale teapots that take 2 people to pour in round bottom cups. And the concept behind this was presence around the table when family comes to visit. So putting down your devices, being present with one another around a table, and participating in what's going on in the conversation and the happenings around the table. I chose cactuses because it represents my family that lives in warmer climates down in the southern United States, who I miss every day. And it was just a way for me to kind of create something that I was hoping to share with them this summer when they were intended to come visit, but obviously coronavirus had some other plans. So yeah, it was a really kind of fun exploration. This other stacking coffee service vessel container set I created is from the top down is a teapot stacked on top of vessels that house all of the things you would need for coffee or tea service around a table. And it was meant to spark conversation, wonderment, and participation with, again, people around the table, to help give someone an excuse to leave their phone in their bag or in the other room and really just engage with the people that are there. Next, I have this very large scale steel and copper wire bird's nest that I have a dragon's egg inside. This is something my mom actually owns this. This is her favorite piece, and it was something that I had a lot of fun making. I would love to make more work this way, and it was a great experiment in tack welding and weaving for the wire. And something I really hope to get to go back to in the near future.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Nicole.
Thank
I
you, Janice.
appreciate you being here and going through all of the artwork with us.
Thank you, Janice.
Next up, we have Ranu Chakraborty. And Ranu was in Art for Life last year with her cut paper sculptures. And this year she has a different style of work in. Ranu, would you like to come forward and tell us a bit about yourself and talk about your work that's in the show?
Hi, good evening, everyone. And thank you, Port Moody, to give me the opportunity to part with that exhibitions. And my artwork is very simple. You can see that all the subject I choose from the nature, and because this is to encourage that children and it is based they can learn from nature, so that's why I choose that subject. And always that flower, both flower, sunflower or iris, is so colorful. And because in India, because of the pollution, I cannot see all those beautiful color, vibrant color. So in Canada, because of the beautiful less pollution, so that's inspired me to have that painting. And because I am a almost 15 to 20 years I work as a paper sculpture artist. So I always try to, I have a fascinate about the watercolor. So this year is different, and I think to change that medium, so I try to do my best. So I hope you will enjoy and love my work. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ranu. It was nice to have you here this evening. Our next artist is Sarah Dixon. Sarah, would you like to come forward and unmute? Oh, Sarah was here earlier. Let me just see if she's still here. Okay. Well, I'm not seeing her. I know she was here at the beginning. Sarah Dixon is a Port Moody artist, and let's see if she's here. Oh, okay. Sarah Dixon is a Port Moody artist, and she normally works in theater, and quite often we have had, or well, twice we have had her micro epic plays during Art for Life. And they're short one-act plays that kids and adults just love. She also does work in ceramics, and this year she's included her series Endless, A Gathering of Rabbits. And there's paintings and all the little mini rabbits. They're absolutely adorable. So please, if you're in the gallery, have a look and check out Sarah's work. Our next artist is Seema Shah. And Seema, I'm going to invite you to come forward, but I just want to say Seema works in collage, and we were very grateful. She's created an online activity, or pardon me, a downloadable collage activity that kids can download and do collages like Seema does. So Seema, are you here and able to unmute?
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your artwork?
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much for accepting my work. This is the second time I'm in Art for Life, and I'm really excited to be part of it again. I think it's such a great idea for a show, and such a great show. I guess a little bit about me. I'm a self-taught artist. It was really the onset of chronic illness several years ago that really brought me to explore creative work. And initially, my focus was on writing, but for about the past 6 years or so, I've shifted my focus to visual art. And oftentimes I do incorporate both image and text. So that's kind of a little bit of writing in there. But really, probably the two most consistent aspects of my visual work is that it uses collage and that it's very small in size. And just to give you an idea, that my pieces in the show, like the one that's on the screen right now with the little monkey, is 3.5 by 5 inches. And so I've got a couple of pieces that size, and the other pieces are 4 by 6. And I think the type of collage that I do, at least some of it, the way I use the images, it just lends itself to working small. But I also just really like working small for whatever reason. That's my natural inclination. But that has been a positive for me because chronic illness has often made it necessary to work from bed. And given the nature of the work I do and the size of it, I have been able to do that. So I'm grateful for that. And in terms of why I've kind of focused on collage, I don't really have an answer beyond that. I'm innately drawn to the technique and the idea of bringing together, combining different pieces and creating, unrelated pieces and creating something new, like a new meaning and a new aesthetic. So that's sort of why I do it. And I just kind of always end up there. In terms of my work in Art for Life specifically, it's from an ongoing body of work that really arose spontaneously right from the time I started doing visual art. And it's continued. It just is something that now is a big part of the work I do. And the main feature is that it involves all sorts of animals and made up creatures. And they all involve collage, but what that looks like really varies. And even just the 6 pieces in this show, the styles are, and the way collage is used is quite different. So, but overall, this subset of my work with these animals and creatures is just a more fun and playful side to the work I do, and thought it was a good fit for Art for Life. So, thank you.
Thank you, Seema. And thank you. Oh, what's going on there? Oh, it clicked it. Okay. We are moving on to our next artist, Taze Powell. Taze, would you like to come forward and we can chat for a minute?
Hi, yeah, I'm Taze Powell. Thank you very much, Janice, for accepting my work, and thank you to the gallery. It's a really awesome show. It's great to be able to do something that sort of focuses on children. For me, my work, I'm a lifelong artist. I deal in all mediums. I'm also a scenic artist in the film industry, but in the last 3 years or so, I've really fallen in love with oil painting. And I try and paint feelings and emotions as much as I can. I try to capture that in my work. So this one here is a picture of a town deep in the South, and from a time period where there was a lot of inequity socially, and you can sort of see that everybody is just sort of just sitting there, you know, just sitting there staring off into the distance, and you have a couple children, and the one child is sort of the only person in the picture that's actually engaging the viewer. Yeah, so I also try to paint, do paintings that bring light to current events going on in our world. And so as you can see, this painting here is, it's meant to stir a reaction one way or another. And it, you know, art is one of the best ways that we can communicate emotions, especially in this day and age when sometimes just expressing ourselves through words we can be a little bit handcuffed with how we can say things and how we can express ourselves. But art is a great way to just really let that. Yeah. So.
Not.
Yeah.
Sorry, sorry, somebody's not muted.
That's all right. Anyways, yeah. So, but that's basically it. That's my profile, and thank you again, Janice. And I look forward to seeing everybody else's work when I get a chance to visit the gallery.
Okay, thank you very much, Taze, for being in the show. And I think I loved when you told me that when you were painting this piece that your 9-year-old son was absolutely mesmerized by it.
That's right. Yeah, it's you know, obviously, and when we talk about art for life, there's so many different parts of life, and there's negative, and so many of our children have been exposed to things that we would have hoped that we could have protected them from, but they've seen these things. So when I was painting this, absolutely, my son just stood there, mesmerized is exactly what he was, and I had to really break down the situation, and this picture helped me do that. So yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing that. Our next artist is Tisa Christie. Tisa, would you like to come and tell us a little bit about your art practice and the work that you have in the exhibition?
Yep, can you hear me?
You betcha.
Okay, so I'm a self-taught watercolor artist. Most of my work is around wildlife, but I have a slightly different painting in here as well, which is the first painting. So I'm half Japanese, and I like to explore my Japanese culture a little bit in my art as well, and I like going to Japanese festivals. And it was at a local Japanese festival that I saw this dog dressed up in his or her little yukata, or festival kimono. And it was just so colorful, and the woman who brought the dog was also wearing her yukata, and I just had to paint it. It was just so bright and happy. And I forgot to say thank you, Janice, for all the work you've done with these exhibits. And I really love Art for Life. This is, I think, the second or third time I've been in. And I've always had a lifelong love of art, but I remember going to galleries when I was a kid and not being that interested sometimes. So I think it's really important to have a gallery show that's geared towards kids. My second painting is a wildlife painting, and this is a little rufous hummingbird. And rufous hummingbirds, they're one of 2 hummingbirds that we get here in Vancouver. And yeah, I just think they're really.
Sorry, you froze just on that last sentence, Tisa.
Oh, I was just saying that I really like hummingbirds. How much did I get out before I froze there?
It was probably a little bit about the hummingbirds. So, and you've got gold in it.
Yeah, there's metallic gold in the circle in the back, which is a little bit of a Japanese reference as well.
And it shows well in the gallery, but it's really hard to photograph. So it doesn't, you really need to see things like that in person. Thank you so much for being in Art for Life again, Tisa.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Bye. I'd also like to introduce you to Victor Koulos. Victor is a Port Moody artist, and he carves in wood. He is mostly self-taught, and when his grandchildren started coming along, he wanted to carve special projects for them. So he started with full-size and quarter-size carousel horses. And for anyone who was here last year, one of the quarter-size carousel horses that he did for his granddaughter was in Art for Life. And there's an image of Victor here with the carousel horse. And this year, when he was isolating during the pandemic, he started doing a lot of small carousel horses and animals that he had never done before. And the project just got larger and larger. And he ended up with a half circle carousel with the mirrored background on it so that it looks like you're watching the horses go around. And it's in the center of the gallery, and it's really quite lovely to take a few minutes and look at it. Now, Victor has lived in Port Moody for many, many years, and I know he started carving when he was just a child. He also does this as a hobby and carves all winter. And his daughter said that he takes requests. So anyone who is interested in commissioning something from Victor, they're more than welcome to contact us, and we'll put you in touch with him. He just says he won't do any more large carousel horses. Now we will move on to our next artist, William Weird. And William has signed in, and I know he's available to come forward and tell us a bit about himself and his art practice. William?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can, but it's really low. Can you speak closer to the microphone?
Oh, goodness, sorry about that. Hi there. Is that working any better?
A little bit. Do you want to just go ahead and chat and see? Right. I'll mute myself so that it doesn't interfere.
Thank you so much. And Janice, thank you so much for having me for this for the Art for Life exhibit. This is my first time having sculptures or paintings for that. Paintings for that matter in an exhibition. Especially for a first time in Port Moody, this is very special for me. And yes, I'm an alum of Emily Carr from 2018 for visual arts. As you can see from my sculptures, I try to. I'm not certain what to say about this, but. Yeah, there's a part that's missing for all of us really when we're in this newfound space together, that we miss the reaction from the audience, whether it's just comments idly, or if it's an expression or seeing someone physically react to your art. It changes your work so much. And this one here I've recently made since during this tumultuous time, I would say. Yeah, these figures. Oh, my apologies. Hopefully that's a little better.
Yeah, I can hear you better now, William. Go ahead.
Okay, wonderful. I'm working by a small tablet, so it's thank you for putting up with with that. These figures, as you can see, there's a link between this sculpture here This is transfix. This is something of a figure I've done. I think about 7 or more. I think close to 10 of these large figures, and this is the first time I've put something into a wall. But besides the point, they've kind of been with me for, gosh, close to 7 years now. This, not merely this sculpture or these pieces, but this idea, these friends, I suppose. And yeah, I'm not certain what else to say, but I guess I've taken them to a 2-dimensional textural point as well. And this was something that is kind of I'm not certain of what else to say about them other than it is there's a lot of particular inspiration that one can find that Giacometti and Gormley and that sort of thing. But yeah, I guess that's all there is to say for what I can put to it. But yeah, other than in any other situation, I would be dearly missing all of, we would all be dearly missing all of your reactions and inputs in a more personal way. Yeah, I think that's all I can say.
Well, William, you'll have to come and see it. Transfix is actually a wall-mounted piece. And so I think that people truly can't get an idea of the impact of it unless they're standing in front of it. And I placed it in the small gallery so that if anyone were to be on the porch at the old St. John Street entrance and looked in the window, it's almost looking out at them. I thought that might be a nice, scary kind of Halloween, not scary, but Halloween touch.
This is a little scary. It's okay to be scary.
And
in fact,
originally, sorry, go ahead.
It's okay to be scary, and it's kind of where we put that feeling. It's we sometimes call it creepy, we sometimes call it curiosity, and it's how we try to make sense of something, and that's really just what the unknown is.
Well, I'm glad you've continued in this series, because the original piece that William had submitted for Art for Life, or pardon me, for Igniting Hope in the Spring, and we weren't able to include it, not having an in-person show. That piece was gone by the time Art for Life came around, and then William said he'd been continuing to work on the series. So thank you, William. I'm glad you kept working.
Thank you very much.
Now we will move on to our last artist for this evening, Yasser Ali. Yasser, now I know you were here earlier, and since we did all of the names by first name, you moved from being first on the list to last on the list. My apologies for the long wait. Thank you. And please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your art practice and yourself as an artist.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much, Janice and the Pomo Arts Gallery, for giving this opportunity. Super privileged, and yeah, thank you so much for having all these amazing artists in this one space. A little bit about me: I'm an engineer by profession, and I do art on the side. So I'm currently a resident at Beaumont Art Studios. And one thing I super enjoy about art is engineering is very process driven and structural. And art can just end up being this very free space where pretty much you can use anything to create. It's almost like this very childlike wonder to life. So one of the things I really enjoy doing with Canvas is basically starting into it with no set rules and then just having fun with mixed media, acrylics, any kind of things I want to use. This particular painting that we're looking at, Blue State of Mind, has a lot of candle wax used. I straight up just had a candle dripping on the canvas to create the shapes and forms I wanted to use. I used a lot of concrete, bases, like for the textural elements, acrylic, spray paint, and watercolors as well. And it's just this very fun blend of just how life goes. Like it's just this very cohesive, innocent form of like life, the way I look at it. And I think it's called the blue state of mind. And the second guy is called the Season of Blue. Blue is a bit of a theme in my paintings currently. I'm just super inspired by that color, and I find it gives me a lot of peace. And with this, the main element that I wanted to use was crushed silica, which we were using for sandblasting on site for a project. And just looking at that material, I'm like, there must be other things you can use to make this more beautiful. And yeah, everything else kind of just started coming together. It had a very Vancouver-like rainy season feel to me, which basically makes it perfect for the fall season that we're in right now.
Thank you, Yasir. Yasser, sorry, I pronounced it wrong again. Thank you. I appreciate all our artists being here tonight on this live Zoom virtual opening. And I am thrilled that we had so many people watching this live. It's always a pleasure. I wish that we were able to have you in the gallery, and maybe this time next year we'll be able to have live opening receptions again. If you have any inquiries about the artwork or would like to purchase something, you can call our front desk staff anytime during our opening hours at 604-931-2008, and our customer service staff will be able to help you. I also wanted to let you know that I mentioned earlier, each of the artists receives a profile on our artist directory, but that's part of it being an exhibiting artist, but it's also a benefit of being a member of the Port Moody Arts Center. We are a nonprofit society, and we do encourage memberships in the Arts Center. So thank you for joining us. Next week, we will have the artist talk and tour for our ceramic artist in residence, Nolan Drew. And at this point, I'm going to stop the share so you can see all of the artists that are on the, who have been on with us. And I will say good night. Everyone can wave goodbye, and we'll say good night to all of our guests on Facebook. Thank you very much for coming, everyone.